Hey there, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Fantasy for the Ages, the show where father and son get together and talk about fantasy, science fiction, and other nerdy things that we enjoy. Today, we have a book blast episode as Zach gives his spoiler-lite reactions to the final book, the ultimate conclusion of The Expanse. No, that's not true. There's a short story novella that comes after it.
Nah, don't worry about it.
The final book, book 9 of James S.A. Corey's The Expanse, this one being called Leviathan Falls.
A nice little full circle from Leviathan Wakes to Falls.
That's right. If you enjoy this episode, and we do hope you enjoy it, please like it down below. It really helps YouTube to find us, all those people out there who might enjoy our content. We hope you enjoy the content enough that you want to see more, and you'll hit the subscribe button as well. We have a comment box down here because YouTube makes us put it there. Please leave your comments. Let us know what you think of this episode. And down in the show notes, you can find all the other ways to interact with us, our Discord server, social media, even an email address. And we do have a Patreon page. People can support us and help us keep this stuff coming out. I just got billed again for the software we do this on every year, and it's not cheap. So thank you to those of you who already financially support us. We're not making any money off this. We're just trying to stay afloat. All right, Zach, Leviathan Falls.
So this book, I'm going to start by mentioning, has some of the most POVs, I think, in the entire Expanse. There are shorter chapters. There are chapters that have multiple characters. There are just more different things in there. There are more interludes with different characters. I actually went and looked it up. I was like, does this have more? It does. It's significantly more. And it makes sense. It's because you're kind of trying to wrap in all these different storylines and all these little bits into one thing. But I want to first talk about a character who was not originally introduced in this book. They were introduced a couple books back, just briefly. But we get so much more about this character, and they are a terrible person. But they are a necessary person for the sake of this story specifically. So many of the other books, if we had focused on them in other books, they would have just sucked. They would have been a character that I hated. In this one, I still don't like them. But I recognize that they do something necessary multiple times. And yet, the reason I want to bring them up is because I listened to these on audiobook, and the first time we'd hear about them in a previous book, the guy who does the audiobooks does a great job, but he butchers their name. He has the worst incorrect emphasis. It's like,
who are we talking about?
Tanaka. When we first get introduced in the previous book, he says it Tanaka. Over and over and over.
Tanaka.
And I'm like, that is not correct. That is not how you say that last name. But when we got to this book, he said it correctly, and it's very clear someone told him. Someone told him that's not how you say that name.
Oh, that's funny. And Zach's rant. There you go. So this book does wrap up so many plot lines. You said everything. I mean, there's nothing really.
There are questions. There are things moving forward, but it's more of a completely different story questions. It's if we were going to explore what's next, it would require a new series of 9, not another book to wrap up loose ends.
Yeah. I like how the title does, in a very cool way, wrap up, how the world was a certain way. The solar system was a certain way at the beginning of the series.
Then the Leviathan wakes.
And things changed because Leviathan wakes, and now Leviathan falls, and, well, it just makes sense.
Things are different now.
It's a good title again.
No, it's true.
Yeah. Any particular characters that you really love how the story wraps up for?
We feel bad for Naomi, but this is just kind of a continuation of the feeling bad that we had in the previous book.
The end for Holden?
Well, I was going to actually round out there. Holden's end, I think, in the same way that we get a nice full circle wrapping up of the series, is a great full series wrap up for him.
Okay.
I think it's one of the better endings of a character in a series. Like, just wrap up where they conclude the series. That shows a full cyclical journey. That is very good, very poetic.
Well written.
Yeah, and it allows for some cool callbacks that it's almost nostalgic especially when you think about this character's last 40, 50 years of life culminating in this moment. And they really have been central to a lot of these things. And no one else could really do what he's doing in this spot. Other people could.
They wouldn't.
But no one else really could.
Yeah.
No one else would even think to do it quite the way that he's going to.
Humanity really didn't deserve Holden. He's better than they deserve.
I disagree with that to some extent.
Think so?
I think Holden isn't necessarily something to be put on a pedestal.
Oh, no, he would never want to be on a pedestal.
And he is not better than humanity deserves. No way, shape, or form. However, his view of what humanity could be, even as throughout this book, he's suffering severe PTSD, but he still maintains that certain noble hope for humanity that a lot of people lose. And the fact that he holds on to that is admirable, but more for how it reflects the possibility of humanity than himself.
Alex gets kind of a warm, fuzzy ending.
His is warm and fuzzy in the sense that it's like, yay. He gets that.
It's not some big epic ending. It's just yeah, okay. Good for you, dude.
And yet,
go make the most of that.
Still gotta love Amos.
Amos. My favorite character of the whole series is Amos, and it brings it right home here. And holy crap.
While we're at it, he takes care of that dog and makes sure that it's got a place on the ship that works. Crash couches are not meant for dogs, but it works.
And the very ending. We can't talk about the very ending because it's spoiler-lite, but those of you who've watched it, read it, listened to it, whatever you did, you know that ending is awesome.
It's so fitting.
Yes.
And it's just something that, like, the experience that has to have happened would drive a lot of people insane. But it wouldn't drive that person insane for
multiple
just
reasons.
The reason, really, that they are who they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's perfect.
What I love about The Expanse, one of the key things I love about The Expanse is it's an epic sci-fi series where the authors land the plane well. Not all series finish satisfyingly with a big bang and with everything pretty much left in a manner that, it's not like every part of it you're happy with.
No.
Which gives it a little more realism, but there's a lot to just go, that feels right.
It really strikes to me that at least halfway through the series, they knew how this was going to end. Maybe not every piece, but they knew how it would end. And so they put things in, they built towards it, they made it actually make sense. And I appreciated that. I really did. It's well thought out.
Yeah. So there was a time jump we mentioned before between the first 6 books and these last 3 books, 30 years. Maybe that's what Prime Video is going to do.
They're going to wait 30 years to give us more?
But, there's medical advancements, so they don't look like they've aged 30 years, but they aged a little. So maybe we have to wait 10.
15.
And we'll get the final trilogy on television, because this would make great TV. These final 3 books would be a great series.
As wild as it is, I almost think that the final 3 books could make better TV than the first 6.
I agree. So let's do it, Prime. Come on.
6 were
or good. Anyone. Not Netflix. They randomly cancel things and are idiots.
Just at this point, keep the cast, because if you recast it, it's a little rough.
We won't watch it.
Well, I don't know about that, but
they better not recast Amos.
At this point, you can't read the book without seeing his face.
That's right. Absolutely. He is Amos. All right. Hope you've enjoyed this journey through The Expanse. Again, if you've liked Zach's Book Blast episodes and you haven't seen my fuller breakdowns of the books, go look for those, but only if you've already read them. And if you haven't read them at all, what are you waiting for?
Go read them. They're worth it.
Totally. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll talk to you next time.